What's going on, everybody? This is the Wired Warrior, the 72 volt Wired Warrior, the latest and greatest from Wired e-bikes, making the jump to 72 volts. That's a big leap. This is a very, very powerful bike. You kind of wouldn't know it looking at it. I mean, it looks just like a big fat tire bike, but man, it's got some serious power. 5,000 watts in this thing, 2,000 watt continuous motor in the back, the 72 volt system that charges to 84 volts, some serious power, serious torque. And if you haven't seen my review video on this, the initial video I did, I really kind of put this thing through its paces. I tried to showcase the torque in this motor because it's just crazy. It's 180 Newton meters of torque, I think. I was pulling trailers and pulling pallets and climbing hills throttle only trying to break this thing, and it just didn't break. It's just got so much down low power. And it's also got some pretty great speed. I mean, this is a 50-mile-an-hour bicycle. That's pretty crazy. And I don't really know of too many 72 volt bikes like this. I think this might be one of the first, if not the first. I've seen some with direct drive motors, but nothing with a geared hub. And this is an exclusive motor to Wired. They got their hands on this from Hang Tie, that's the manufacturer. And this is only Wired's got it. 2,000 watt continuous, like 5,000 peak. It is super strong, big, heavy motor though. And I went through a lot in that first video, but there was a bunch of stuff I just couldn't get to. I couldn't cram it all into one video. And you guys had some questions, so I wanted to just give us a little bit more of a close-up look at this today, answer a few more questions, give you a few more specs and details on it in case you were thinking about buying it. Use my code. If you do, you save $100. I have a $100 off discount code. I'll put it down in the description. And actually, I got codes. Wired gave me codes for everything. So I have discount codes for Freedom and also the Cruiser and this one, which is the Warrior, the step-through version, which is the Scout, and the Predator, the dual motor Predator, which is gonna be insane. That one's basically this exact bike, but with another motor in the front, a 1,500 watt motor going in the front of it. Gonna be outrageous. They say, I mean, they're telling me like 60 miles an hour on that Predator. We'll see. I'm hoping they give me one in my hands to test it. I don't know how I feel about doing 60 on a bike, but we'll find out. I did 50 on this and it felt fine. But let's start going through this Warrior bike a little bit more, give you some more detailed info. The first thing I wanna cover is some of the dimensions. So the minimum seat height is 33.5 inches, minimum seat height. The maximum on this particular one is like 36 because with the rear suspension cutting into this seat post tube here, you can only make the seat post so long. So this one, they actually gave me a pretty short one. This is 5 inches long. So the highest I can put the seat is like 36 inches-ish. They've told me the production models will have a 7-inch seat post. So that means the max height is probably gonna be like 38-ish inches for maximum. I mean, if you're really tall, you have long legs, you need a taller seat, you just got to go buy a taller seat post, no big deal. So 33.5 on the minimum seat height. The standover height to right here, this flat spot, is 28.5 inches, I believe. And this is an 18-inch frame. I took the measurement from the center of the crank arm here up to the top of the seat post, and that was 18 inches, so I believe 18-inch frame, if that's how you take that. And from the ground to the top of the rear rack, I believe was also 33 inches. From axle to axle, about 51.5, and the overall total length, 81.5 inches. Now this bike has a carrying capacity of 450 pounds. That is the rider plus cargo, 450. The rear rack says on it 55 kilograms. What is that in pounds? I have no idea. 115, 110, I don't know. Somewhere around there, about 100 pounds on the rear rack, I guess. And then what else? The weight of the bike, 145 pound bike. This is a stout bike. Compared to the Freedom, you know, that one's I think 110. The Cruiser I think is also 110 pounds. So where does the extra 35 pounds come from on this bike? Well, there's a number of areas where you get that increased weight. So the first is the frame. This is all new frame design. It's kind of similar to the Cruiser bike, so that you got the battery integrated in the frame here. Then you've also got this pretty thick top bar, thicker than the Freedoms would be. So kind of a beefier frame. Even these brackets I noticed were way thicker than on my Freedom. And then weight also comes from this motor, very heavy motor compared to that 1,500 watt continuous, heavier motor, thicker gauge spokes. I mean, this stuff all adds up. These tires, typically these tires are about twice the weight of your, CST tires or your Chow Yang tires. These are really thick, heavy duty, high speed tires. And then one of the biggest areas of increased weight is the battery packs. So 72-volt batteries are way, way heavier. This rear rack battery, I've got a side-by-side to show you of this 72-volt pack versus the Wired Freedom's 60-volt pack. This one on the Warrior is about 3 inches longer, and it weighs 5.5 pounds more. And then the front battery pack weighed 6.5 more than the Cruiser's frame battery. So you've got another 12 pounds on this just in the battery packs. So the weight of this thing is definitely something to consider if you're planning on lifting this into your truck or on a bike rack or whatever. Make sure you can handle a 145-pound bike. Of course, you can make it a little bit lighter with the batteries out. Actually, quite a bit lighter with the batteries out. I think the front battery weighed like 19 pounds and the back was, I think, 16 pounds roughly. So I think that was most all the dimensions. If I missed one, drop in the comments. I'll be sure to answer it for you. The next thing I want to go over is the battery packs and all the information there. The front one is 72 volt, 20 amp hour, and the rear is 72 volt, 15 amp hour, so 35 amp hours. A battery pack on here at 72 volts, and they're a lot heavier, I mentioned that, and they charge up to 84 volts. So really not a 72 volt system. This goes up to 84 volts. You're getting a lot of voltage out of this bike. That's kind of where some of that speed comes from. And you can run the bike off of one battery pack. You could take out the rear rack pack, run it off of one, because they use S cells, they call them. They're high discharge cells in the batteries. So you can run it off of one pack. If you didn't have those type of cells in here, you wouldn't be able to do that, because this thing has a 55 amp controller. It is sucking juice out of there big time, giving you, that 5,000 watts of power. But yes, you can run it off of just one pack. To charge the batteries, they give you 2 chargers, and they're 3.5 amp chargers. So you're going to charge each battery in, like 5-6 hours ish on each one. And it comes with 2 chargers. They also did a design change here on the back, where on the Freedoms and Cruisers, they've been having like another battery operated taillight here. So they replaced that and put this little grab handle. So it makes it really easy now to get, there's a lip here you can grab onto to help you pull that battery out of the rear rack. And you no longer have to like hold the key turned and pull at the same time. You just turn it once and leave it and then pull on the handle, battery slides out. Another question I did get asked, so I do want to address this, is can you, it looks similar to the Freedom and the Cruiser. Could you slide this 72 volt battery pack into your Freedom or Cruiser? No, do not do that. Do not do that. You don't want to try to run your 60 volt Cruiser or Freedom off of 84 volts. You'll probably cook it. You'll probably fry the display or controller, one of those. That's just too much voltage for those bikes. So don't try to swap the batteries from this into anything else. So that's all the additional info I think I had on the battery packs. There's a bunch of other little odds and ends on this bike that I wanted to cover. First would be the rear rack. They really changed up the way that it mounts. It used to have, like on the Freedom and Cruiser, there'd be these little tabs welded on that the rack's mounted to, and I think some of those were failing. They've now got it where it just bolts kind of right into these frame rails right here. It's I think a much better mounting system for the rear rack. It looks a lot sturdier. So updates on the rear rack. They did put on a front rack mounting system here. Got a little wired plate there covering it, but they're working on designing right now a front rack or basket for this, so that'll be on the way. I don't think any other wide bikes had that. They're all blank right here, just the logo. So this one, front rack mounting system coming soon. The forks on this, they put X-Show forks on it. This is the prototype, first one off the line experimental bike. This has X-Show. They're gonna go with the RST guide forks. It's on pretty much all the wired bikes, so this won't have X-Show, it'll have RST guide. The Predator bike will have those double crown X-Show forks, the same ones that were on that last version of the Predator. So this one, Predator, is going to have the motor in the front, and then the bigger double crown forks. And then Warrior and Scout, the step-through version, are going to have the RST guides. A lot of you with the Kenai noticed that this one had a double-sided chainring. That's also a first for wired. Usually this is single-sided, and I have too had my chain slip off when I'm doing some rough off-roading on my Cruiser bike, and also actually the Freedom too. So they went with double-sided. I don't know if this will be the exact look of it. I do know that it will be double-sided, but I know they were going back and forth between a couple different designs. I don't know if this is the one they settled on or not, but it will be double-sided. Now, production models will have these exact tires on them. It's going to be the same tire, the same tread pattern. These are, the ones that are on here are Heb Allscape. But the way I understand it is Innova Innova is the manufacturer of this tire and this tread, and then other companies like Heb, and I've seen them called Black Cats. There's other companies that'll purchase this, put their logo and their name on the side. So it's going to be this exact tire, because this is really heavy duty tire, really thick. It's made for the higher speed, but the production will probably just have a blank sidewall on it. And one other cool thing this Warrior got was a new little item from Wired, which is the torque / cadence sensor right here. So the bike comes with a torque sensor, and then it also has a cadence function. For those of you who don't like torque sensors, you can go in the display, in the drive mode, and you can pick cadence, and it'll function just like a cadence sensor. You don't have to push at all. You just turn the pedals and it goes. So you got your choice on this one. Torque or cadence for your pedal assist. That's pretty cool. That was a great upgrade. If you're curious, Wired tells me this bike is IPX6 rated, and the display screen is IPX5 for its water resistance. Somebody was asking about does it come with a Class 2 sticker? It does. Capable of a lot more than that, but it does have a Class 2 750 20 mile an hour sticker on it, because that's how it's going to arrive to you. What are their odds and ends? The motor, it is a hang tie motor, so it does have the metal, the steel reinforced gears inside. All of Wired's bikes have that 1500 watt motor, and all the other bikes, they all have I think it's like a nylon gear sandwiched with steel plates. So that's meant to be, handle the high torque. This thing has got some crazy torque. And the other things I wanted to show you were in the display screen. I kind of want to walk you through the menus just so you can see what that looked like. We'll go back to the garage to do that, where it's a little less windy. Well, let's show you some of the programming options you've got available in this Wired Warrior display. If I hold the set key, it'll take me into the menus. So here's your initial main menu. General settings, let's go in there. We'll hit the set key. First is wheel size. You're going to want to keep that at 29 inch, because that's from ground to top of tire. It's actually 29 inches, not 26. Speed unit, I always like to keep mine in miles, but you can change it to kilometers an hour if you want. The mileage unit, same thing. Temperature unit, obviously I want to keep it in Fahrenheit, so we'll leave that there. The motor temperature, this you can have it either on or off if you want to see it displayed or not. I don't know why you wouldn't want it there. It'll help let you know if the bike's going to overheat or not, so I'm going to leave mine on. Battery display, your option here is you can have it display your remaining battery in either the percentage left or the actual voltage left in the battery. I like voltage, but I think most people are probably going to want percentage. I'm going to leave mine on voltage. And then the last thing, light mode. You got a bunch of options in here. This is for your headlight and tail light. You can have it just normal, where it's steady. You can make the front light flicker, rear light flicker, or both of them flicker. I'm going to leave mine on normal. We'll get out of there. Next is cruise control. If you want that activated or deactivated, I leave it on, even though I don't really ever use it. And last, I think this might be the last one, display sleep. How long you want before the screen times out. And now that was the end of the menu, so we'll hit the return, and it'll take us back to the main menu. And if we go into the advanced settings now, we'll see a bunch more options. So first is max speed. Let's go into that. It is 99 kilometers an hour. Max speed I've been able to hit right around 50 on the display so far. Production models are supposed to go 50 to 50 plus. So we'll leave that there. Class setting, multiple options in here. Class 1, 2, 3, and unlimited. Now, when you choose one of these, it will set the bike up completely how it's supposed to be in that class. So for an example, if I go here and I pick Class 1 as the class, it's going to limit the bike to 20 miles an hour, and it's going to deactivate the throttle because there's no throttle on Class 1 bikes. If I go to Class 2, it's going to limit the bike to 20 miles an hour. You'll have use of your throttle though. And if I go Class 3, it's going to allow you to go 28 miles an hour while pedaling. And again, it will deactivate your throttle because Class 3s technically don't have a throttle. They're pedal assist only to 28 miles an hour. I keep it in unlimited, of course, because everything is wide open. I have as much power and much speed, much throttle as I want. So I'm going to leave mine in unlimited mode, and you can just basically do whatever you want. So let's back out of there. Next one is drive mode. This is where you can select if you want the cadence sensor or the torque sensor. I like torque. I'm a torque sensor guy. I don't like it when the pedals just accidentally spin and then the bike takes off. So I always leave it in torque, but if you really want cadence, you can switch it right here and it works perfectly. I will say that. So leave that on torque for me. The pedal assist level, you can choose as many as you want, 3, 5, 7, 9. I always like 5. The pedal percentage of power in each individual pedal assist. You can see I've got them laid out here. Not much power in pedal assist 1, but you can change these percent by percent to whatever you want. So you can really fine tune your power delivery. So I'm just going to leave those where they are and go out to the next item, which is throttle enable. If I go in here, you can turn your throttle on or off. So if you happen to be somewhere where you're not allowed to have a throttle on your e-bike, you can come in here and disable your throttle independently and just get rid of it. I'm going to leave mine on. I like the throttle. Next one is throttle follow. And you got the options of yes or no. What this means is if you pick throttle follow yes, your throttle will be limited by your pedal assist number. Pedal assist 1 gives you level 1 throttle, 2 level 2 throttle, and so on. I don't like that. I want full throttle all the time, anytime I ask for it, regardless of what pedal assist level I'm in. So I'm going to keep mine on no. Next one is throttle percentage. I've got it set at 91 right now, but you can back it down if you want your throttle to be less powerful. You can back it down as far as you want, percent by percent. So I'm just going to leave mine there at 91. After that, we've got start strength. You got the options of 0, 1, 2, 3. 0 is the strongest hit off the line. And let me tell you, on this bike, if you have the throttle at full power and the start strength at 0, you'll lift the front wheel off the ground. So right now I've been driving it in 3 because it gives you a much tamer launch off the line. I'm going to leave mine on 3. Next one, that's it. Start strength was the last one in this menu. So I'll hit return and get out to the main menu. The next one here, you can clear your trip meter right here if you want to. I'm going to leave mine right now because I got my range test thing running. And then screen brightness, if you want to set a password or exit out of the menu and back to the main display. So lots and lots of options in here to customize. Now, for those of you that have ordered a Predator e-bike, the dual motor e-bike, this is the Predator display. You can see it's pretty much identical to Warrior. However, you do have the drive mode indicator here at the top showing you which wheel is active, and there's a 3-position switch, really fast to change. You can see it light up front wheel, both wheel, rear wheel, really quick to change the drive mode on this. And if we go into the settings, it's going to look pretty much identical and have all the same things that the Warrior bike has, with the exception of when you go into things like the throttle percentage and you enter that menu, you're going to have the option to fine tune the front motor and the rear motor separately. The wheels, you can program each wheel of the Predator bike completely separate. So if I go into front, you can set that at 100, and then you could go into rear and set that one down, to 97. Do whatever you want. You can change it percent by percent, so you can really, really fine tune the Predator both wheels. Same with the start strength. You can put the front motor on slow and the rear motor on quick. So anything in here that has affects the drive motors, you can set them individually. All right, folks, that was a little bit more about the wired Warrior, the 72-volt Warrior. It's pre-order right now. I don't think the production models are going to be in the US until May, like beginning of May, 1st of May, somewhere in there, before you can get your hands on one. So if you want one before summer, you're going to have to pre-order. It's going to be just like the Freedom and the Cruiser. Those things were never in stock for years. They're finally in stock now, I think, but for years it was just like pre-order only. If you wanted one, you had to pre-order. This thing's probably going to end up being the same way. So if you want one before summer, you better pre-order it. If you've got more questions about it or want to see me do something with it, let me know, because this prototype's the only one around right now. So I'm happy to do some more experiments and try to kill it. I couldn't kill it last time. I'm not sure what else to do with it, but let me know. And I know there's one other question that everyone has, and you're smacking your hand on the table right now wanting me to answer it. What's the range of this with the 72-volt batteries? I'm going to do that right now. I'm about to go start my ride right now and do a range test on this so I can give you guys a rough number of what the range is. It's very hard to do range tests. I never know how to do it. I'm not doing a full throttle, all out range test on this. I can't go 50 miles an hour everywhere. I'm probably going to put this into a usable configuration, I'll call it. I think I'm going to turn the throttle power down and put it on like slow start, so it's a reasonably drivable bike, and still run it pretty hard. But I think that's how we're gonna do the range test. Just make it a nice manageable ride, not insane crazy 50-mile-an-hour power all the time. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll let you know the final range number when I'll be back in like 2 days with that. Talk to you then.